Never
Sean,
goes
there we
fucking right,
go.
bro.
Fuck. Had a Windows update. It reset Discord and freaking OBS.
Yeah, that's happened to me too.
But I usually check. It's been a long time. Um,
Man, life ain't fair.
so
That's
yeah,
all I'm gonna say
didn't
on
matter.
that.
Anybody was talking about some medical stuff. So
Yeah, you wouldn't want to hear that shit.
I finally sold my Series X, and I gotta tell you, it didn't go as I planned. Um, because I bought the thing thinking, all right, this back in December. I was like, it's 350 at Walmart. If they sell out, it was early December. I was like, I'll just pick it up. I'll check. If they run out and the price is 4.99 right before Christmas, I said maybe I can make $100. I'll put it for 450 or 480, whatever it'd be to make 100. And Walmart had it for 350 well into January. So I was like, yeah, I'll just open it up, loaded some games, got some experience testing it out. I actually like the operating system got way better than the when I had the 1S. And then I turned it off, and then literally like 2 months later, I was like, oh shit, because I had it behind my TV, so it was out of sight, out of mind. And I was like, I turned it on a couple more times, and I was like, you know what, fuck it. After the Hellblade 2 no physical release and everything else that Microsoft, the closing the studios, I'm just gonna post it. I had a couple of days off. I'll just throw it on Marketplace. It's still 4.99 plus tax. That'd be like 5.30. I was like, I'll just put 4.20. Fill it, take the photos, post it. I'm like checking my phone every 5 minutes, thinking I'm gonna get somebody. I don't know what I was thinking. Nothing. I had like 8 clicks on it in 24 hours. So I was like, all right, I drop it to 400. 4 more clicks. All right, I drop it to 380. And I just said fuck it. That was a week ago. Finally, in the same day, I got one guy offered me 280, and I was like, dude, I just looked $300.
280.
I was like, $300 gonna get you a dirty, dusty Xbox, not in the box. I said the reason you messaged me though is because mine's the nicest in the box, like brand new. He's like, well, I guess it's dusty and dirty then, and that was it. Next guy, would you consider 300?
Get your broke ass out of here.
I got 300 cash. Would you consider taking? I said, dude, this thing is basically brand new. I said, I'll take 380. And he goes, he's like, the most I can do is 350. And he lives like he's in the exact area I live in, a small portion of West Michigan, a small city limit. I just looked at his profile. He seems like a decent guy. His profile, he's a hunter and he's obviously a Michigan guy. A lot
Are
of
you going on
hunters.
a Tinder date? What is
And I'm
this?
like, all right, I'll just come back. I'll say, dude, if you do 360 cash, I said, I'll take it. He's like, well, I got 280 on me. Can I give you 80 to cash up? I was like, no, I want cash. He's like, all right, I'm going on lunch. I'll go to the bank. What's your address? I said, you message me when you're on your way. Like 5 minutes later, he's like, all right, I left the bank. I was like, all right, here's my address. And he's like a 20, 25, 28-year-old kid. And he showed up and counted money. He's like, yeah, this thing's like new. He's like, I got the Series 1 or Series S. He's like, but I only have a couple games and I want to play my 360 games. So he's like, I really been looking for Series X. I know this thing's in nice shape, so I don't mind paying. But I was like, I told him I paid 450. I don't know why at that point. I should have just said, yeah, I paid 370. So I got 360 for it. I paid 371. I figured that was pretty even. He got a good deal on a barely used, and I didn't lose a ton of money. And I helped him out because, like he said, he wanted to play his old 360 library and Xbox One library, and he couldn't because he had the Series S. So I'd say both parties did all right. I mean, it would have been nice to get 400 and make a little profit, but it's open, so I don't mind. Um, yeah, so but it was weird. Like, I don't know why I had such high expectations for what I could get because I keep the box, everything's in mint condition, and I just know that I took care of it, and I just assumed that I'd get a higher value for it. But
Right now, it's just consoles.
it's just bad timing for
Yeah,
sure.
it's a bad time.
Yeah.
Like
Like even Switches aren't like.
I think I seen PS5s in the 300 range, and but you never know how somebody treats it. I watch
Right.
Tronics
Right.
Fix, and there's freaking cockroaches in people's PS5s and Xboxes.
Gross.
People live dirty lives, man.
And
Gross.
you see the amount of hair. Like, I have 2 cats. I got what I call, not dust bunnies. What's in the westerns? Tumbleweed, like hair in going by all the time. And I'm like, I open up my PS5 after like a year since the last time I opened up to put the SSD in there. And it's not even dust. There's not even like light dust to it. So I don't know what's going on. Why at my house I got cat hair and dust all over everything, but for some reason my consoles just don't suck it in. My furnace filter's nasty after 2 months, so I guess that's where it all goes. So yeah, I only had 2 people in 2 weeks basically message me, and the one guy was just lowball at like $280 for basically a noose. Get the hell out of here! Like, I'm not a lowball kind of guy, but I don't.
What do you think, he was a crackhead or something?
I told the other guy, I said, dude, there's no harm in trying for 300, but I wasn't gonna let it go for under 360. Like, I would rather kept it at that point, because at some point there could be a game I want to play on it or something, So yeah, that was kind of interesting.
It's insulting.
And if I had paid $450, I wouldn't have took 360. Trust me. I only took that because I paid $370 for it. Also, yeah, we didn't even talk about Tears of the Kingdom 1-year anniversary. Was that last week or is it this week? Because I seen people posting about it.
You don't remember when the game came out?
I don't remember the exact date. I feel like it was earlier in May.
Wasn't it 16th?
Was it?
But it's it's already been a freaking year. Like, how long do we wait for that game? Speculate it'd be out in 21,
We
22.
waited 5 years.
Wait 5 years and it's already been out a year. It's like, damn. But last year flew by, man. And this year's already May's almost over.
That's insane.
The
older you get, the faster time.
Yeah, it's crazy.
When I was young, it felt time was forever.
Yeah, it felt like it took forever to get to this point in my life, and now it's just slipping by. May 12th was the release date.
Oh, 12th. Okay. May 12th.
I honestly, I booted up a few times after I beat it, but I haven't really dived back in. Like Breath of the Wild, I started it, played a whole second time. I started a third time. I'm 3/4 of the way through that. It's just, I like the game. Obviously, I put 190, 180 hours into it, but it's just, I don't think it's a second play kind of game. Like Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Barely a first play kind of game. Oh,
oh wow, that's crazy.
I still ain't beat that bitch, so 80 hours.
I do want to, there was another game I wanted to, like Immortals. I played it all the way through second time, almost 100% of the game, and I never did the boss fight a second time. And it's been so long now, I feel like I probably wouldn't even remember.
You got time to be putting the second playthroughs in mid games.
Hey, I actually enjoyed the second playthrough way more than the first playthrough.
Messing with you.
And I tried to plead to Robert, but he didn't hear. I said, dude, I'm not bullshitting you here. The vaults, which are like the shrines, that's the best part of the game. If you skip those, you're really missing out. And he didn't believe me, so he just skipped them and just got through the game in like 30 hours or whatever. But honestly, I kind of did that in the first playthrough. I didn't skip that many, but I skipped probably half of them. There's some really clever, really cool puzzle mechanics using it's like a magnesis thing. There were some really cool sections, challenge sections and stuff, and it's like, yeah, these should have been mandatory. If I was making that game, I was like, man, that's a good puzzle. We should somehow make this one be mandatory. It's all optional. Same with Breath of the Wild. There's some really good shrines in there, all optional. So Lenny hasn't beaten Tears of the Kingdom either. What's up, RJH? We got Visored. Yeah, I did create a second profile. That's been months. I created a second profile on my Switch and started Tears of the Kingdom and did the entire opening section again. And I was enjoying it, and then I haven't touched it since. That was probably 3-4 months ago.
I'll beat it soon, and I'll probably never play it again.
I'm
It
upset.
took you it took you this long to beat it. Yeah, of
It'll
course
be a
you're gonna
few
play it
years.
again. Like, I'm
Right,
good. I got it.
It's gonna be 10 years, bro. To touch
I'm
that bitch
halfway
again.
through my second Elden Ring playthrough as well. Then I
Really?
heard the DLC was coming out, so I just kind of held off.
Elden Ring's been on like everybody's mind as of recently. If you've been on like Twitch, they've been.
I guess there was a dude who
Kai.
streamed it, and then
Kai.
IGN just said that he was like incited a riot. That's how they introduced the article. Hey, so and so who incited a riot, which apparently isn't true at all. And he did like a really positive stream, gave away PS5, and they just kind of.
It wasn't that simple. I mean, it was his fault the riot happened, but
was it?
People being stupid.
It was because he didn't really plan it out properly.
He didn't plan it out well. Yeah.
But it wasn't like that wasn't like the intention. It was
like
just
he went in.
Yeah, it's not like he went. They made it sound like he.
The issue is that I don't think he recognized what kind of people his audience base was.
Right.
So what was the riot? What was the quote unquote riot about? Like what? Were
I think he was giving out PS5s and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think severely underestimated how many people were going to come out.
I underestimated how many people was going to show up. Like tons of people showed up.
Oh,
and
like physically show up.
Yeah, like they were. I think it was when in New York. I think it was in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in New York, and he underestimated how many people were going to come out and how many people were going to just get out there and be on some debaucherous shit.
Yeah, so you get a huge group of people together, things could happen.
Yeah. Well, that and his community is kind of crazy. The stuff with him in Elden Ring recently, though, is that Kai is what I like to call like an insanely casual streamer in the context of most of his content isn't really around games, and even the games he does play are mostly like casual centric.
Oh yeah, he died 1,700 times playing Elden
Ring. He does like 2K and like Madden. He does, and I think the most hardcore thing I think he's played is like Red Dead Redemption 2 or whatever. But he mostly streams. He streams like a bunch of like, I don't know, like, oh, it's popular, and then he started getting into Elden Ring, and I think originally he didn't play it like seriously, and then he actually started getting into the game, and he kind of rallied an entire community, and the Elden Ring community came out and like supported.
I'm just gonna assume
and he did everything. He beat Millennia and everything.
Did he? Like people tell him like what to do, what builds to put together and stuff? Because I don't know because I don't watch the streams that
on
closely.
His stream, people are telling him that, yeah.
Because
but I mean, he needed tips because he was getting his ass.
It's one thing to like give some basic. Hey, this is good to know. Like before you start or before you get much like Retro Death. I said, first thing you want to do is switch your horse whistle to one of the fast. I think I told Terrell the same thing. Instead of having to like cycle through your items and hit the horse whistle, you can just hold, was it triangle or something, and then a D-pad, whatever it was. It's like instant access to the horse whistle instead of scrolling through in the heat of the battle and having to stop right at the right spot instead of hitting a potion, you know. And I was like, hey, just this is what someone told me, and this is what I told him and told Terrell. Just switch your horse whistle to the quick access so you don't have to keep selecting it. It's just always there instantly. And that's the kind of stuff like I would tell somebody, because the game doesn't tell you that. And the default is kind of a dumb how it works. But as far as like, I was watching she did movie reactions, and she started doing gaming. Mary Cherry's her name, and the only game she had beaten at that point was Wind Waker, and she went from Wind Waker to Elden Ring, and it was, I mean, it was painful to watch. Like she's a new gamer, so she doesn't even do dual joysticks and stuff. Still was new to her, and she would just dodge roll. Like she wouldn't even just run somewhere. She would just dodge roll everywhere. Spam dodge roll, just
like what do you call it? Speedrunners do and shit.
But it's the slowest. Like it's super slow. You just hold circle to run. She would just dodge roll. So any combat she got in, dodge roll, and she was running out of stamina. And she's just getting marked, and it was hard to watch. So obviously she needed advice. But I tuned in like a month later, and everyone's just telling her exactly what to do, what weapon to put on. Like they didn't leave anything up to her at that point. Because
it was painful to watch.
And you know, she was still fighting those early bad muscle memory of dodge rolling constantly. And but she got through the game. Did a magic. People told her to do magic build. Obviously, it's the easier option. Keep a distance if you build it up properly, I guess. I didn't think it was ever very effective, but if you build it up the right way, it can be like super OP. And but yeah, I don't think she would have got through the game without that. But at the same time, it kind of like at some point, I tried to give Terrell some advice, but at some point, you just gotta try stuff for yourself, And that's all there's to it. I know with Bloodborne, you had some people in your ear the whole time, which may or may not have, I don't know, helped you or hurt
The
you.
only thing I remember them being in my ear about was the how to get to the final boss, because I mean you get to like because of what you have to do to get it. I don't remember anything other than
I don't
that.
know. The times I listened, it was almost like you were following a guide based on the people who were telling you what to do.
I got
it's been I beat that game back like what was that 3 or 4 years ago. So I don't remember specifically, but the only thing I remember explicitly being told was the final boss thing
like
with the
telling you, hey,
cords
go to this place, and you jump off the cliff. That's how you get to the spider. There's the spider down because I don't know if I would have jumped off if I hadn't seen your stream.
Oh no, well, see, those things I don't really mind because those are like you have to fuck around and find out. That's the vibe I get from that. So I was like, that one doesn't really. That one doesn't really bother me as much.
How about in here talking that bush?
Where are the Nintendo?
Yeah, you're right. We're halfway through the year. Where are all the Xbox games?
We're not gonna do this,
dude. I shit you not. I've seen two people now say, wait till that June event, like, because somebody was like, oh, you guys are selling your Series X. That June event comes around, then you're gonna be wanting it back again. Like, how many times? That's basically wait till E3. How many times?
Why would you need a June event? There are good games coming.
I'm sure there's gonna be some good games, but. How long have we been here? Wait to E3. Wait till
that's not going to show you anything that's coming this year.
This week?
Yes,
isn't Hellblade 2 this week?
Yeah.
Tomorrow. Then they're not going to show you anything that's coming this year. That you
because because they were really what's her damn name? The president. She just basically reiterated.
Sarah.
Yeah, Sarah Bond. Indiana Jones is coming. Indiana Jones is coming. I could not remember her damn name for whatever. I didn't even know she was a person in power until that interview she did. Like, I thought Phil Spencer was the guy. But
they just moved her up recently. That's why
I don't follow executives outside of Nintendo. I couldn't tell who's in charge of Sony right now. No idea.
It's two guys. It's Herman Holst and the Japanese guy. I can't remember his name.
They might. But anyway, they might show some games for like 2025 at June. I don't think there's going to be a 2024 game they're showing you that's going to change their fortunes or their lineup much.
There's good games coming. There's you got Avowed. You have Indiana Jones, and I'm missing one. I'm forgetting one.
Stalker 2's been talked about forever. Obviously
Hellblade 2 tomorrow. But I mean, the June event is not going to give you anything for this year. So selling your Xbox for this year, based on what you already know, if you sold your Xbox and you don't care about that stuff coming out later in the year, then what is the June event going to do for you?
Yeah, I've seen somebody else hyping it up like this. Xbox it basically was saying it's all doom and gloom. We got Avowed, Hellblade, and Indiana Jones. We got the June event, and then their rumored next console or whatever, whether it's a handheld or the largest leap. And I'm like, I mean, yeah, if you add everything together, there's some things promised that could be some.
We know Muhammad, but that game ain't coming out for another 4 years.
They also added Call of Duty.
4 years.
Xbox got Call of Duty coming out. I'm like, come on. Call of Duty's coming out everywhere.
I will
unless
say
it's coming out in Game Pass.
I guess it's coming.
No, that was the conversation going on. That the next Call of Duty would be on Game Pass,
which was nonsense. I think. Look, I hate to be that dude because when I defend Xbox for this kind of stuff, it seems like I'm being a fanboy for them, which I'm not. I'm just stating the obvious here. They bought fucking Activision Blizzard for fucking Call of Duty on Game Pass. They wanted that was always a thing. But here you get these articles. Oh, they're talking about they may not put Call of Duty on. It's like I feel like you guys are just taking the shit, and because that's not the case. They're not talking about not putting Call of Duty on there. That was one of the main reasons they bought Activision Blizzard. For them to not do that would be completely insane. And then once they I guess Sarah Bond, made it confirmed. I don't know why it needed to be confirmed, but I guess she confirmed it. Oh, and then they're like, oh well, I don't know if that's a good idea.
She did
It's like
confirm it.
the same people writing these articles. Oh, Xbox. What did I see? Somebody said, oh, it's a last ditch effort to save. I'm like, what are you talking about? That was the whole reason they bought it.
So let me ask you this: do you
go
think
ahead.
there's any potential for a? You're forcing us. You're not forcing people to get Game Pass. Obviously, they can buy the game, but on Xbox, I don't know how the Xbox Gold works anymore. Can you just pay $60 for online or not? Do they?
Oh, you can pay the
Wait,
$10
for just
Can
online?
you just have
Ultimate.
online? Is that $10 a month just for online?
Yeah, I think
the
for
lowest
core,
tier,
yeah.
For core, yeah.
So obviously, if they're already playing on Xbox, they already buy the game every year. Maybe some people will just, instead of buy the game, they'll just get Game Pass Ultimate, because you need online. You have to have Ultimate, otherwise it's not point having it. Maybe some people will.
Wait, did the Dreamcast guy say that? I don't watch. I
No,
don't watch Dreamcast guy.
I'm not
That's
talking
what
about
Jay
Dreamcast.
Biggs. No, Jay
But
Biggs is saying. I said what Dreamcast guy was saying.
so I guess like I'm asking, do you think the guys who buy Call of Duty every year, basically that's all they play, are just gonna stop buying it and just switch to Game Pass? Or do you think they're gonna be
It's
stuck in
going to
their?
move some people.
You think
I
they
don't think it's
might
going to be
get
that many.
stuck in their
I think
way
I
buying?
think you might get 5, maybe 6 million new subscribers out of it, which is a nice boost. But what here's what's going to move it, and this is kind of something that came out recently. Microsoft is doing what they did with the 360, where they're going to beat Sony to the punch for the next generation. So Microsoft is like, we're not doing a mid-gen refresh or a pro console. We're just going to start the generation in 2026. So what's being said is that Microsoft's going to put out their new console, and again, Sarah Bond talked about it being the biggest leap ever, and that's going to get some people excited. And you release that in the fall of 2026 with the new Call of Duty. I mean, that's going to be huge. So that's how you're going to move your consoles initially, and I think that's a smart move. But yeah, I don't think it's going to move much. I don't think it's going to move people to Series X, but I think it could potentially be a game changer for their next console.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just like, I didn't really think about this before the podcast, but just saying out loud, if people are already paying $10 a month just for online, and then paying $70 for the game, basically for $5 more a month, they could just have the game on, and not have the game, but play the game, and
yeah, it's gonna move some people.
So yeah, I mean,
no doubt about it.
If you're a Call of Duty guy on Xbox and you're paying $10 a month for just online, it makes almost no sense to continue to buy the game and just pay $5 more a month and have the game and Ultimate. Whether they'll play any other games, probably not. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But if I was on Xbox Call of Duty guy, I mean, I would consider, especially since the games are irrelevant after the next year. It's not like your game's worth anything. Like if you wanted to resell the physical copy, and people aren't going to pay for an old Call of Duty game the next year. Maybe years down the road, if one becomes a favorite, people might want to try to pick it up. But it's basically like it's almost like a lease anyway. I mean, every year you're buying a new game, so might as well just pay $5 more a month. Which,
and the cloud would get better. The cloud will get better, and a lot of people are gonna get People are already starting. I said this years ago about how my students did not care about a console. They would come to school with their phones and a freaking game controller, and they were happy. And I see a lot of kids today. My son, he doesn't really he plays on his PC. He doesn't really care about game consoles. It's just his friends are all kind of on PC. They don't play. They don't care about game consoles or any of that stuff either. So it's the writing is on the wall for these consoles.
Why is Muhammad in here like capping for Assassin's Creed now? What the hell?
We're not doing that. Also, side note,
they got it's just like with Star Wars Outlaws. They have $130 version. They have a season pass for a $70 game. They have trying to get you to do their $17.99 monthly access, so basically their Game Pass. And it's like, That like somebody made a good
What is
video.
he
Like,
talking about?
why aren't people more upset about this new Ubisoft pricing structure? 2 games in a row, people get caught up on the main character or this and that, and less people talking about the damn pricing structure Ubisoft's trying to get.
I think because people are kind of used to the Ubisoft pricing structure.
But this is new.
They've given up on that stuff.
This is 2 games now in a row where they're trying.
Yeah,
to...
2 games. Listen, people's outrage is
apparently the $100 version.
I wanted to play as a Japanese samurai. Well, there's a game out there called Ghost of Tsushima. Go play that.
Apparently, a lot of people are playing. Like, the Steam numbers said it.
Yeah, the Steam numbers look good. So
it's a good game. I mean, I was skeptical. I really liked it. I would say that's probably the better game if you want to play a samurai game.
Side note: there is a bit of news that just broke a little while ago.
Uh-oh. Breaking news!
Nintendo has acquired a company of sorts.
Really?
Yeah, they acquired. I believe it's called. It's Shiver Entertainment. It's the guys that handled the ports of Hogwarts Legacy and MK1 on Switch. They just bought that from. They bought that from Embracer Group.
So you know what that means.
More ports.
I have no idea what that means.
More low res ports that sacrifice way more.
No, obviously they're gonna use them to leverage for Switch 2, and making sure the ports.
That would make sense, honestly.
Good. Yeah, it makes sense.
And I don't know how much of it was a lack of talent versus trying to port,
I think
games designed for current gen onto the Switch. They did what they could.
You want to get people who are already versed in that stuff. So
the fact that they can do something, I won't say amazing, but they can do something. All right, like
Hogwarts Legacy to me is mind blowing. That on a Switch, come on, I think that's what they're looking at. It's like, well, you guys know how to make some shit work, and something. Mm-hmm. So why not invest? Is this their second? That may hint to the architecture being pretty similar, which is kind of what people think anyway.
My question then is this Nintendo's second American-based acquisition? I believe next to Retro.
No, they had Next Level.
Oh, that's right, Next Level.
Next Level, yeah.
I know. I missed.
I almost forgot they bought them.
I feel like they own more. Somebody else said.
They own more in the.
Who's the one that makes the sports games? Do they own that?
Damn.
Camelot?
Camelot, yeah, Camelot.
I don't know where they're from, to be honest.
Camelot is a British company, I think.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Because I didn't think Camelot was.
I'll look it up.
But I just thought it was interesting. A lot of people are thinking it's like, Nintendo, you don't usually buy studios like that. So it's like, why this one specifically?
I don't know, just because they're available. But man, while T was talking about the Xbox, I felt like I had something I wanted to spin off of that, and now I can't think of what it was.
Oh no! It's actually in Japan.
Is it?
Fail?
Okay.
Is it?
I wasn't like super sure, but
in Tokyo.
Not well. I think I was looking at the name and assuming British.
Yeah, me too.
What?
We were talking about Xbox. I watched a video. I didn't know who this person was. Apparently clocked it, so she's no good. But Lady Decade is her name. She did.
That is the first time I've ever seen her.
I watched Lady Decade 2 video, and then before that, she did the new Xbox. Them touting. You were just talking about it, but I wanted to bring up her
Lady
point.
Decade.
Her point is like
your new viewer.
She's alright. I mean, I'm not. She makes good, like, she has knowledge. She's not just talking bullshit. She actually does research. She's basically more of a journalist than any actual gaming journalist, from what I've seen in 4 or 5 videos. But her point was, and I want to get your take on it, is it not reading the room? Because she was talking about how, in the Switch 2 video as well, how, like, the most successful systems in history have always been the lesser powerful one, or the least powerful one. Like the Game Boy was like launched; it was already way behind what we were.
Yeah,
seeing.
We can go through the entire list. PlayStation 2.
So Xbox like doubling down on this like the biggest leap ever, which I don't believe that. I don't know what they mean by that. Is that something is that just graphics or is there something else that
it might be software related as well.
But
But
the point is, like,
yeah,
is that not reading the room? Is like going for the most powerful again? Like, is that really the answer? And when you were
no,
talking about that, that's why I was going to bring it up.
yeah, I think they are reading the room because they're putting out a handheld too. The people are forgetting they are putting out a probably Series S, power wise handheld, which is completely reading the room. If you look at the trends in gaming right now, I mean, I have two PC gaming handhelds, which surprised even me. I got super excited about the Steam Deck, and then I rolled into the Lenovo Legion Go, which I also love. Probably play that more than my Steam Deck now. But yeah, they're not just. I don't think they're just. They're just because again, their strategy is everything's an Xbox. So your fucking iPad's an Xbox. You know, they're not just gonna focus on that power thing. They want to win that power narrative because it's a nice thing marketing wise. But they're smart enough. I think they know that a lot of their gamers. I saw a guy. He's like, "Oh, I have an Xbox Series X, but I play it a ton on my freaking iPad with a controller." And I think they understand. I think they understand that because that's what they're starting to leverage. The cloud is it's pretty cool once you get into it. I use it a lot more than I thought I ever would.
But yeah, I mean, I could see like having all avenues covered, but I don't know if it's 2026. I guess the timing, it would all depend on the situation, what the state of gaming at that point. Because her biggest point was, all right, you're making this. If it is a huge leap, and she went over like some of the bigger leaps.
Well, here's the thing: where that stat is a little skewed. The most power. It's not like, oh man, I really want a less powerful console.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go get the PS2.
You definitely want them.
No, that's not the reason. Obviously, PS2 was helped a whole lot by that DVD playback, right? So, and the original PS1, it was just like it was cheaper in many other ways when it came to like games, and obviously it had way more games in the competition. So
discs, so you
those
had
two,
FMV, you had a lot of
right.
CGI, you had a lot of
those
production
things,
value.
There was some nuance as to why they won. When it comes to the Wii, I mean, why did that win? Why did the Wii win that generation?
Price and the gimmick to everybody wanted
price
could play
and the gimmick. Right. So it's not like people are sitting around waiting, saying, "I'm going to buy the lowest powered console." You know, that's not what it is. If you radically look at those different things, those are the different reasons. PS4 wasn't the least powerful; it won.
That's true.
Handily.
That's one of the few where the most
so
powerful. Well,
I
mean, when you talk about the base systems, by the end, the One X was more powerful.
Well, yeah, but nobody.
But
I cared at that point.
But just the one thing that I thought was, if it is like a significant power leap, devs aren't going to be able. They're already struggling with game development costs. Like, if you come up too early with a big visual leap, then it's going to be even more expensive. Unless Unreal Engine 5 or 6 gets to a point where it makes development so easy and can fully take advantage of everything. It's like development costs are already getting out of hand, and if you try to do that,
that doesn't have anything to do with the power. Like, development costs are out of hand.
To actually take advantage of all the power, then you need higher res assets.
My question is what is the power? Like, why do they think they need the power?
Because developers have already tapped out everything. They've already tapped out the PS5 from what they.
But they can't afford to make the games consistently anyway.
Okay, but the point is, they won't have to worry about that handicap. Like as long it's about architecture.
About not going out of business at this point. You
don't have to. It's about architecture. You don't have to make the most powerful, graphically googly game if you don't want to. You don't have to do that. But if you want to, you can do it because the architecture is familiar enough with you, and you can utilize the tools to make it better. We're in an era of we can easily make a lesser powered version of these different games. I mean, we were just talking about Hogwarts Legacy. Like, if you can make that easier for developers, they'll love that. And so you just give them all the power they want up front, and if you can still fucking make you can make what are the bug snacks? if you want to make bug snacks on PS6 and whatever the next Xbox is, you can still do that. Nothing's stopping you from doing that. Having more power is not stopping you from doing that. But if you want to make the next cinematic crazy looking game, you can do that as well. I don't. Power is not hurting anyone. GameCube was super powerful when it came out. So was the first Xbox, and developers, they had fine. They were fine making games on both of those consoles. You have to leverage whatever your capabilities are. You can't be spending above your means. You can't be buying these licenses that make the game cost $300 million in production. You have to be smart. The movies are figuring that out. Movie studios are starting to figure that out, and gaming companies have to do the same thing. That's just it.
Retro has had a comment for you.
What?
He's complimenting you on your looks, apparently, and then can't believe you like the Wii over the
I believe it's cool too.
Oh wow.
He's stupid.
I wouldn't say I didn't go all in with either system, but the GameCube, I did buy a lot of third-party games for that system. That's the most I ever bought third-party games on a Nintendo system by far.
There was just way more new cool experiences on the Wii than there was in the GameCube. That's just I don't want to say that's a fact because people will get pissy, but that's from what I experienced.
For me, it was pretty simple. It had 3 really good Mario games. It had
better than that Sunshine.
It had
I knew that was coming.
A new Donkey Kong Country game. It had a good Metroid Prime game. I mean, I like it more than 2, but I don't like it nearly as good as 1. And it had some cool, unique experiences. And Wii Sports was just always fun.
No More Heroes. You got your oh my god, I can't think of the freaking game. The black and white game with the
Mad World
game show. Mad World. I mean, you had there's a lot of really cool games on the Wii. And the GameCube was fine. It had a lot more third party. And I think that's why a lot of people were over. But I'm like, well, third party doesn't move me when it comes to Nintendo consoles anyway. I'm happy that it has more third party games, but I had an Xbox. I can play those games on my Xbox. That's not making me more excited about a Cube. It's what Nintendo brought and what is, I guess you could say, second party, like or exclusive third party stuff. That's what excites me more about every console. So,
I mean, I enjoyed it at the time. Just looking back,
I love
on
my
it.
GameCube.
I got Metroid Prime, got
over 100
Resident Evil 4,
so.
Resident Evil Remake, Twin Snakes. You had Eternal Darkness.
Eternal Darkness is amazing.
I mean, I ain't gonna.
We're having 2. Where's 3?
And then there's RPGs I didn't even play. Now. So Lenny or Trilink says Shiver Entertainment will be porting Final Fantasy VII Remake. Why do people say stuff like as if they know, like it's true? Like, I don't.
Yeah, I don't know if that's.
Maybe that's a guess.
Do we even know if they can, if they're allowed to? I don't. What's the deal with that?
I thought Sony secured Final Fantasy VII.
Square's, well, I know Square. I don't know if we even talked about that last time.
You did,
Square's,
but I said
okay.
I thought Sony secured Final Fantasy VII exclusivity. I could be wrong, but I swear they did.
I
thought they did too. I don't.
So maybe everything else would be on the table, but if I was Square, I'd want to.
I don't think that's really a thing until, especially considering, I mean, as far as console exclusivity, maybe, but I don't even that I don't really believe anymore, because Square can easily renege on that. Like, if anything,
they gotta pay Sony if they do. It's contracts for a reason.
And shit, I would think at the most.
So Square Enix confirmed Sony exclusivity for Final Fantasy VII's remake trilogy. That was March 6, 2024. I thought they did. I think they bet. I don't know if they gave them more money or whatever, but apparently they locked it up.
Whatever Final Fantasy game comes out, I don't even know about 16. I don't know if 16 supported that deal. But
I think that's just the remake, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
The problem is
the remake is unique because of the timing of it. That was, you're talking PS4.
I think the other problem is that right now, I don't think I don't know how confident they are to put stuff on Xbox right now. I don't know how much money they've made on Xbox with their stuff, and they can't really do
Depends
anything
on
on.
how much it would actually cost them to do it. If it don't
And
cost them that
then
much,
I think right now, I think
I think it's a cost thing.
yeah, it just depends on whether or not they want to humor that right now. I imagine I'd be curious if that exclusivity is just until the trilogy is out, like once all three games are out,
it
or is it
doesn't
just
say. It
in
just says Sony
perpetuity?
locks
Like,
up exclusivity, and Square confirmed it according to that March 4th.
I don't remember Square confirming it, but
Yeah, I didn't hear that part, but I did hear that Sony had locked it up for whatever reason.
well, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, that is their
It was well
that.
received, but it's not like it's a breakaway hit or anything. So I don't know.
I think because of what that game means on PlayStation specifically.
Now it
So
only
who's waiting
lasts
on
until
GTA?
May.
What is this guy talking about?
I
Ain't
don't
nobody
know.
waiting on no damn GTA 5.
Oh yeah, well that comes out,
But
and then that
Nintendo
confirmed to come out
fans,
next year.
maybe Nintendo only fans like.
For
No, he
what?
said GTA 5.
Yeah, they confirmed it's supposed to come out what, late next year, fall next
No,
year, I
no,
think.
That's
GTA
6.
5.
He said
Oh,
5.
five,
Nintendo
five.
He
fans
says,
never had 4 either.
Yeah, like, and the Switch is the highest selling console soon to be of all times. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I ain't waiting on nothing.
It did get the trilogy, but it wasn't
It's
a
like
very good
GTA
version.
5.
Don't
Nobody
talk
worry
about
about
that, bro.
GTA 5, another one of the few games that I started and didn't finish. There's not a lot of games that I own that I say that about.
I bought it, played it, had fun with it, but
Yeah, it's fun. Oh, so Trilink was just speculation.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So yeah, just get back to like I don't know what the answer is. Like, yeah, you don't want to come out with some weak hardware, but at the same time, I don't know if this is twice they mentioned this biggest leap ever kind of thing, and it's like I don't think they tried that with the One X. They tried, we're gonna be most powerful. Then the Series X, they're the most powerful. I just don't know if that still has any weight to it. Like, I'm not saying.
I think it still has weight to core gamers. I think a lot of guys. We're not gonna act like this community doesn't care about power because they do.
Yeah, but
and I think it matters to developers. They know they won't have to worry about bottlenecks, and they can get what they want out of it if they want to. But as far
I
as
think being the lead platform should be the thing you want to be.
I think that's the point in them coming out first, because that's what happened with 360. 360 ended up being the lead platform that generation for the HD games anyway, and that worked out pretty well for them. And now they got Call of Duty back again, so they're trying to go for that 360 move again. They're trying to get that feel back again. I don't know if it'll work because the gaming industry is so different now, but that's not. You got to put out what you got. If you can put out powerful hardware and you can slap Call of Duty on the box. Hey, I think that's a good start. I don't know if it'll work, but that's a good start for you. I mean, what else you gonna do? Can't put Halo in the box.
No, wow.
What's with the 4x3 camera there, Storm?
Put Halo in the box and there's no damn game.
Sandstorm's rocking the 4x3 camera.
Oh my
god!
The old
school.
Yeah, I gotta take care of. You can't see her, but I gotta take care of my dog down here. So she just she just had her medicine, so I have to make sure I'm watching her. Yeah.
What's up, man? What do you got? You got something to add to the conversation?
About all this Xbox and the future and the power and all that other stuff.
And we're talking about Nintendo. We're talking about Square. A lot of stuff been brought up actually.
I didn't catch everything as a full, but as far as like kind of in the context of the power and stuff like that, T-set power is necessary, and I only say it's necessary depending on how you use it. Because just even looking at like the PS5 and the Series X and Series S and stuff like that, how these games have been made and how they're working with them, it doesn't really seem that much different from PS4 and just everything that they've been doing. So, like, and in that same vein, you look at the Switch and stuff like that, and I know especially early on in its lifetime, when people were talking about how underpowered it was, like the but or the asterisk to that was like, but it just does this. Like, it's amazing that it could run this, and it's amazing that it can do this, and the stuff that they have to, you know, do in order for get this to work. You know, Odyssey running at was it 720, 60 or something like that. Um, just the things that it could do. So I think really when it comes down to it, especially if they're talking about another Xbox and Bond is talking about, you know, this is the new next most powerful thing. I think Trinell said it, or maybe you said it. Really, it should come down to like the games and actually how they utilize that power with the games. Because if it's just like another powerful system, just to say we got another powerful system, I feel like they've kind of beaten that into the dirt. But kind of like T said, if they're making a handheld to complement that or to expand on that idea of Game Pass being everywhere, more power to them, I
I think
guess.
honestly
But
the
they just
handheld, which I didn't count, I've probably mentioned this before, that could be the reason to buy third-party games through Xbox's ecosystem.
mhm,
You get that
Yeah.
portability. You don't have to rebuy it. You buy it. You can play it on if you have a Series X or Series S. If you just have the handheld, you know, and a PC,
I buy a lot of stuff on Steam because
and
of
it's
that.
like that would
yeah,
be that could be a selling point for third-party games. And then if you got it for third-party games, yeah, you're gonna take advantage of the the Xbox Microsoft Studios games while you're at it. Like to me that would be more interesting and give them more of a chance, I think, than just coming out with the most powerful console thing. Because when it all comes down to it, we talk about this. We're just now getting like the games that are slated for 2024. You're finally starting to stop see cross gen. You still see a few, but it's like
mhm,
Yeah.
it's pretty much over at this point. Other than some
yeah,
third party games and multiplats.
Yeah, the main
Um,
games aren't really doing it anymore. The
like
main
yeah, it's
no,
not like going from
it only took 4 years.
God of War Ragnarok on the PS4 to like Stellar Blade on PS5 or Final Fantasy VII Remake on PS5. It's not like it's almost like the whole DVD versus Blu-ray at first glance. You're like, I don't see much difference. But then if you play it enough and you go back, like if I went back to playing on a PS4, I'd probably be like, damn, like I didn't realize it was or maybe I wouldn't. I don't know. I don't have a PS4 to go back to test that out on.
mhm,
So I think it might be a situation like if you come out with this new system while the Series X and PS5 are finally just starting to get their like hit their peak for what developers are able to do and get everything out of these systems, and you come out with a new more powerful, you might just get basically the more of this cross-gen thing where yeah you got the 120 frames per second version or you got the native 4K with or maybe you can go full path tracing and play it at 30. You're gonna have some options, but I don't think you're
Yeah.
gonna get out of the gate for years. I don't think you're gonna get like this new standard of visuals unless somebody like Cyberpunk CD Projekt Red's like yeah we're basically putting the PC high-end PC version on the Series Y or whatever they call it. I don't see like just the regular multiplat suddenly making it the the lead platform will probably still be the PS5 in 2026, and then they'll just add some enhancements to that. So I don't know. I to me a handheld's way more interesting, even though I'm not a huge handheld guy. I do see some value as I'm getting older and stuff like being able to play some of my favorite third party games and while I'm like getting ready for bed and I just want to relax. I don't want to sit up on the couch and turn the TV on and stuff. Sometimes I just when I'm playing Switch when games like new games are out on Nintendo on the Switch in the last couple years, like Tears of the Kingdom, I played a ton of that in handheld. I was like, I don't need to turn the TV on. I'm just gonna pick it up, turn it on, and play it wherever I'm at. So to be able to do that with like all
Well, anecdotally, um, I started playing what is it? Jedi Survivor.
mm-hmm.
how'd you
And
like it?
I'm liking it, but I'm realizing I can't play as much as I want to because I'm not tethered to my desk here a lot. And it recently came on Game Pass, and I'm like, oh well, that's great because now I can download it to my freaking Legion Go, and I can play it. Now I can actually get through it the way I want to, and that is like you were just saying. I think that's going to be a big thing for a lot of people, being able to play third-party games like that on the go, and if they don't want to get into the PC handheld stuff, they can just have a focused console like the handheld Xbox and do. I do think that it would be a good selling point for that handheld.
So that brings up a question, and it also brings up something else I kind of wanted to say about generations and moving forward. But so the question is, you would know who is currently doing the Xbox stuff on the handheld side. Like, doesn't somebody have like access to the Game Pass exclusively or something like that?
Who's designing it? What are you asking?
No, I thought like Xbox was working with one of those handheld makers, and like Game Pass was like.
They have the Surface team. I think is working.
Yeah,
on
they said they were trying to. Weren't they saying they wanted to make their games easier?
They're trying to get they are working with somebody to get Windows to be better for handhelds. So that was the thing that when they said that, people realized that they're probably working on a handheld. But yeah, they want to make.
So that's one of the things.
I don't think they partnered with
Windows on
anybody.
handhelds suck ass. They do suck. It does suck. Okay. Like when I use my Legion Go and try to navigate without having a keyboard and mouse, forget about it. It sucks ass. Mm-hmm. So they're trying to make it better.
Okay.
The way Steam Deck is when you go into desktop mode, you can still use it fine with a controller.
What I was gonna say about generations, kind of along the lines of Juice, what you said, as in like, when the next generation comes around, we have this whole, we're being held back by Series S. We're being held back by Series S for all the years.
I think gamers were just saying that they thought devs were probably being held back. I don't know if devs ever said it.
I think that's
maybe one dev might have.
Fanboy fodder.
But I feel like if you've heard it once, you're gonna absolutely hear it again when the next generation comes out too. Like, we're off the PS5 now. We're on the PS6 and Xbox Y now. Like, we're just being held back by those systems. But is interesting too, though, is that like where you see like Nintendo really trying to take old technology and mastering the old technology. A lot of the systems from Sony and Microsoft, they don't really get mastered in that sense towards the end of the generation. Yeah. So like you can start to see when they start like really,
at least not this gen.
Out.
I would say not this gen. I would say the older
pretty long way from the start.
Yeah, I would say.
I would give PS3 and PS4 credit.
It wasn't like early PS3 to late PS3.
Yeah, late PS3 was in his bag.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, and it's later life years, especially when they start moving to another system. Mm-hmm. It's like okay, now you.
Yeah, because look at Horizon Forbidden West running on PS4 versus like launch games on PS4. It's pretty impressive what they were able to do. But that's more of like, it's not as much about maximizing. Hey, we didn't know there's a secret sauce in this hardware. We didn't know there was this cache of whatever. Like, I forget what system had a little extra.
No, well, that does happen
because the game engines get more. The game engines become more efficient and more able to add features and stuff. Like, it's more the game engines advance more than like, hey, we didn't realize X or whatever system had that little extra. Maybe it was Wii U or something or 360.
Well, what's happened on Switch is that a couple of these games, I can't remember exactly which ones they are now, they benefited from guys doing or guys having a game on Switch. The other versions benefited from things that they figured out working on the Switch. So that stuff can still happen. I mean, it's gonna be rare, regardless. But
it's not the standard.
It's like like I think what most people want is the standard, like you just said. It's 4K 60. Give me 4K 60. I think everybody will be happy with that. And you know, all the extra visual tricks you want to do, fine. But at the end of the day, I want 60 frames on my you know, my current gen games or my next gen games, and I think that will be the main focus. I'm sure somebody will, you know, even PS4, or is it PS4? No, PS5 I think has 8K on the box or something.
Oh gosh, not that.
Nobody cares about that.
That
Like
was
they
because
want
that was because their
50
TV
frame rates.
manufacturers were trying to push 8K when that came
Yeah,
out.
it's a marketing thing.
And
People just
nobody
want pretty locked 60 frames or more. When you give me that, I think most people will be happy. Beyond, you know, whatever you can do beyond that, great. But give me a locked 60 frames in my games. That's what a lot of people want.
that, and also like Nintendo's implementation of upscaling, whether it's the FSR or whatever. I don't know what they use for Tears of the Kingdom, but Xenoblade Chronicles 3 they use it. Tears of the Kingdom they use it. Couple like Showtime I think uses it, and you've seen some in the native resolution didn't change, but the output is cleaner, sharper looking visuals, and it was
AI scaling.
It wasn't exactly anything Nintendo did. It was AMD working on this upscaling technology because the DLSS existed, so they needed something. That I think Xenoblade Chronicles 3 looks amazing on Switch. Like compared to 2 especially. Went back to 2. I was surprised at how low res the backgrounds and stuff were. It's like I almost wish they could somehow implement. I thought they did implement something like that after the fact, but for like handheld. But like that's if you look at stuff like that, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom don't look that much at a glance like different. But I took some screenshots because I was going to try to trick Retro Death. I put Link. I tried to hide his arm because his arm in Tears of the Kingdom. I took some screenshots and I downloaded them to my phone instead of posting them to Twitter. And I looked and I was like, God damn, Tears of the Kingdom is a decent amount sharper. Like the backgrounds are sharper. You know, the draw distance, all that looks pretty much the same. Character models Link looked a little bit better. The lighting in his hair looked better. So there's definitely some improvements just from that stuff. And you talking about 4K 60, I think there's mentioned this before, but DLSS, instead of becoming that extra little enhancement, it became the crutch that developers started relying on. They start relying on FSR 1 and 2 and DLSS to get games to look even remotely okay and run at 60, where like Avatar Frontiers of Pandora is one of the best examples of a game that it's so obvious. You turn the camera, you can see the upscaling, but it still looks good. But if it was native, it would look amazing. So they're relying on that stuff. So like, and I don't think seeing some of these, you know, current gen games in the future, I don't see those running at native 4K 60. They're like, I think we're gonna get a few more 30 FPS type games, I think, before.
Yeah, but even those games eventually get a freaking software update. Starfield's getting one.
Yeah,
a lot of these games eventually will, you know, get that. And you know, the guys are saying 1080p. How many people still rock 1080p TVs? Not very many. A lot of people are on that 4K. So, yeah, that it would have been nice to have had 1080p 60, but that ship's kind of sailed because most people are rocking 480p or 4K TVs now. So, they're not going to focus on getting 1080p 60. It's just,
and that's what's the Switch going to do. I mean, 4K TVs are
right. The Switch will do that.
Got to be the majority of people own a 4K TV at this point. Right. Is it going to even strive for any kind of 4K output, or are they going to stick to 1080? That's remains to be seen.
I would be fine with 1440, to be honest.
Yeah, but not every TV can accept a 1440p, so it's still going to have to upscale it to 4K to be accepted by TVs. Only a few TVs actually can accept 1440. And it's really only a few. Maybe
it's a few, yeah.
And but the game can run at 1440 and just do a simple a regular upscale to 4K just so your TV can accept it. I thought like the Wii U was doing that to Wii games, but it was just literally just told my TV it was a 1080p image. It wasn't upscaling Wii games to 1080. It was just the signal was being upscaled. It wasn't, the actual image wasn't being improved at all.
Right.
And I think a lot of 4K TVs do that as well. But I have been pleasantly surprised, especially Stellar Blade's an Unreal Engine 4 game, and getting in some areas I'm like, yeah, I can see, just like in Xenoblade, you know, there's some textures in some areas. I'm like, yeah, that's, you know, that's not super high res there, but the overall, I can see a difference between like PS4 games at this point. Could that game run on PS4 at 30 FPS, 1080 or 900p? Yeah, sure. I'm sure it could. But seeing like the last few state of plays or the Xbox, the last like I don't know if it was last year or whatever, the last showcase, I'm guessing this January or this June showcase, we're getting a lot of current gen only games, and I've noticed the difference in the trailers and stuff that, yeah, these are current gen only. We're finally getting out of the cross gen. We're literally, I do see where they were being held back, and it's not like the games were terrible. Like Forbidden West, still one of the best looking games I ever seen, being held back by a PS4, you know, base model PS4, still looked one of the best looking games. So,
or one of your favorites, Harry Potter.
Yeah, well, that was, they made it work on PS4, but it was a current gen game from the start, or like not from the start, but that was the focus. That was the first release. Then they said, all right, let's get it to work on PS4 and One X, or you know, or Xbox One. But a game obviously started during the 8th generation, so it started as a PS4 and Xbox One game. But yeah, I'm just like, basically my point is, I'm seeing finally, like, hey, we're 4 years in. I'm, you know, for the last whatever showcases we've had, I was like, yeah, these are current gen only type games, and I'm seeing a difference. What is that? There's like it's a weird mix of medieval and fantasy. It looks super like photorealistic. There's like knights.
Skyrim?
No, it's like there's like knights in armor, and there's like big grass fields and castles, but then there's like these portals, and it gets future kind of like sci-fi fantasy that was shown.
Is this a newer game?
It was shown off like 2 years ago, and it looks like it has to be the PC build. I don't see that running on PS5 the way they showed it. I remember Red Knight, so it might have been 3 years ago now, because he was like, that's the best looking game I've ever seen back in the day, and I haven't really talked to him much in the last couple of years. So some games like that, I'm like, how are they going to run on PS5? And what's Woot, what's the hell's the name of it? I think it's Chinese developed, been shown multiple times, like a Souls game with like a monkey dude. He looks like kind of like a monkey human.
Oh, Song Wukong.
Something like that.
I know what you're talking about.
I'm seeing some stuff, and I'm like, dang, how's that running? How's that running on PS5?
Black Myth?
Yeah. But then they show some shots, and I'm like, yeah, it's not running. It doesn't look like it was running too well. They switched to Unreal Engine 5 during development. It was for Unreal Engine 4.
And you're saying developers and the fans aren't excited about super powerful consoles?
No, I'm just saying I'm seeing some of the games for the future. I'm like, dang, are those even going to run? Is that even going to run like that on the current gen? What was the guys who made fuck, why can't I think of anything right now? Hello Games or whatever. Is it Hello Games?
Wukong Black Myth, Alexander.
What's
Wukong Black Myth?
The procedurally generated space game that started off on PS4 and overpromised everything.
No
Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky.
Yeah, their next game looked
pretty
damn. Oh yeah, I got the VR version.
Nice.
That next game they showed looked like holy shit. I forget what that game's called, but like, how's that running on current gen? So, you know, we'll see when it all comes down to it. Maybe they will need that new Xbox out to get these games.
Yeah, that game looks amazing.
But he's known to overpromise, so we don't.
Well, I don't think he was overpromising. I think he because the game is pretty much what it is, what he said it was going to be. It is that now. So I just think he just wasn't. I think he might have got pushed a little bit by Sony. Maybe he probably would have spent more time on it.
Yeah.
That was like a big game.
I remember he said you were never like it's so large, like to run into another person, like would be like running like two people.
They
in
did it
the,
like the first
yeah, like
5 minutes.
first day it happened.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
The world's
so
just so big, you'll never run into your other
Who
friend.
else used to do that? Your boy Lionhead.
oh yeah, the Fable, the promises of Fable were like.
Peter Molyneux.
Peter Molyneux, thank you. Yeah, that dude.
And then he admitted, he just said because he thought the interviewer would get bored if he just didn't have anything else to say, so he'd just throw in some random, unobtainable thing that the game was going to do. That's what he said anyway.
Randy Pitchford used to do that shit too.
Mm-hmm.
I can't stand that guy.
And then he said he'd go back and his dev team would look at him like, what the hell did you say that for?
Why'd you say that?
Wasn't Fable you're going to be able to have like children and then play as the children and like this is generations.
You can play as the children of your like, come on.
Fable 3, yeah.
Like, but that's not too far fetched today with like AI and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But who wants to do
That
that?
would have been pretty
Nobody
sweet,
wants to do that. You want to play as your hero and get
That would've
and then I'm out of here. I don't play as the hero's kids. Ain't nobody doing that shit.
Oh my god!
I'd like to play a game as Rex kids. Rex's kids, right, Terrell?
Well, we technically only know of 2 of them. Yeah, 2 of them.
I could see like a sequel would be cool. Hey, you're playing as so and so's the children.
Yeah,
of
but that's a different game.
But yeah, he was saying like in the course of this game, you're gonna do all this stuff, and people like you do bad things, and then you'd go back and like your people would hold grudges or whatever he said. It was like, get out of here.
And some of that stuff was true, but it was the most base version of what he was saying. Is just like, oh, it's you again. You know, when you talk to an NPC or something. How dare you show your face here? And then you could go back and talk to them again. That they completely forgot about that. They just talk normally. And it's like, what the Jesus. Games do that now. It's just like, come on.
That was one of the
did something horrible.
One of the lunarrative dissidence moments in where it like takes you out.
Does that.
Where it takes you out of the game. I don't want
to
like
the immersion.
I'm not want to bring up bad. I don't want to talk bad about somebody's favorite game, but Days Gone, one of its biggest flaws, in my opinion. I know T's was playing it.
I think you wanted to talk about Days
Gone. You go to a camp, right? And you see everybody. You see these people. You go up and start conversation. They have a few words. And you're like, what the hell? I just did a quest for this person. Why are they just giving me this basic chat, option? They just keep saying the same thing. And I'm like, fuck. Well, I guess I'll just go do another mission. Get on your motorcycle. You leave. As soon as you leave the gate, you get 10 seconds away from the camp. And you get a call over the radio from the person you were just talking to. Hey, Deke, can you stop by and see me? I need to talk to you about something. And you're like, I was just talking to the and then so you go back into the camp and you go to where they weren't there anymore. And then it like goes to a cutscene and then they're like, oh yeah, and it's like you conclude the mission. Oh, you did that for a while? Great, here's your reward. And it's like, I was just talking to them. Like, why did I have to leave the camp to trigger the end of this mission? Like stuff like that kind of I don't remember it was with the Fable stuff. Like that really took me out.
Yeah, I forgot where we were.
If it could have blended that, if you could have just did the mission, went back to the camp, and saw the person and talked to him, and like and that generated the cutscene and the mission end thing instead of having to go to the camp. They don't just a basic conversation, then you leave, and then it triggers it. So it was just kind of a broken mechanic.
I mean, that kind of stuff is probably always going to be in games like that happens to me in Starfield where I'll shoot a civilian on accident because I'll be like messing around in my settings and accidentally shoot somebody and then police show up and they're like, hey, pay your fine. That's basically it. You pay a fine, that's it. And I'm cool now. And obviously that's been the way it's been like that. But when you have games that are supposedly so immersive and stupid like shit like that happens, it kind of takes you out of them.
I mean, there's been games that have handled like they don't let you just like I think it's
you're not allowed to come back to that area anymore.
Yeah, kind of there's ways where it blends it more seamlessly, but I think the problem with Days Gone, just me speculating, they kept expanding on the game and making it bigger and bigger. I don't know that they ever intended for some of the mechanics of these camp systems and missions to work like that, where you could just go anywhere and you do this mission and like if you if you went back and it just didn't trigger it for whatever reason, then you had to like relieve the camp and then it triggered it. I just feel like that was a fix for the problem of, hey, we just expanded on this game on scale and everything, and how do we get these missions and stuff to work now? And I think that was versus a game that like Tears of the Kingdom or something, where that from the very beginning they knew how they wanted like mission systems to work and interactions. Could probably avoid that a lot better. But
we're just doing the greatest hits of hate. We talked about Days Gone. I mentioned Sunshine earlier. I think somebody said something about Wind Waker.
Yeah, well, they played it. We didn't say anything about it.
Yeah, we didn't say anything bad about it. We just brought it up. So what else is there? Is any other game? What is Luigi's Mansion?
See, in there it's too? Not how all games work, Retro. It's not all games work where you finish a mission, you go back to a place, you talk to the person, and they act like there isn't a mission that got finished. Like most games, as soon as you finish the mission, the next time you see that person in the game, they're going to know you finished the mission. It's not going to just give you some, hey, how's it going, Deke? Oh, all right. And that's all. And then you talk to them again. Hey, how's it going, Deke? How about blah, blah, blah? It's like,
Jesus.
It's just, most games, as soon as you finish the mission, you go back and see that character, it's going to trigger the end mission thing. It's not going to get mixed up, which was fine. It's just one of those breaks the immersion moments. All right, I guess I got to leave the camp to finish this, you know. And once I figured it out, it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't know what else is there.
News-wise, nothing really.
Yeah, there is.
Rumor talk. All right,
yeah,
so
there is. T,
What?
you come on, T, Janelle, come on, let's talk.
I thought you were saying yesterday is like you had some.
Yeah, I mean we do. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about how crazy this and how disrespectful having a black samurai is. And
oh my god, I don't want to do
We
this.
mentioned it a little bit, but
There's not. I don't want. What do you want me to say?
What is the point? We all know. You know, hopefully, we all know that it's nonsense. It's funny because a lot of times when they bring up this stuff, this woke stuff, it's like, oh, don't just pander. What is the story? Why is the story reason for this person being there? Well, they don't even care about the story reason for Broad being in this game. And I'm sure there's one, and there's a good one. But what company is going to sit back and be like, you know what? I'm going to pander to the smallest group of players possible, and that's going to help my game sell? I don't understand what your argument is.
The conversation specifically seems to be more so this is being used as a distraction, so they don't bring up actually something Juice mentioned earlier.
I haven't heard any actually say that.
They could design a complete game.
Well, no. What I mean by that, I mean like
there's a strategy from the pricing structure. Is that what the?
Yeah, that was the conversation.
No, I think people are.
This is a better thing for them than the pricing structure.
No, that's not the conversation. The conversation is why are people talking about? It's not like they did. People are saying, oh, they did it on purpose to distract from the pricing. No, that's not. No one's saying that. People are saying, why are we talking about this instead of this ridiculous pricing structure? But not to like get in a debate about it. I don't know. I don't have like proof, but the word on the street is that companies have they get investors invest in the big thing that investors look for now or right now that they're looking for is inclusion and all this stuff of
they don't care about profits anymore.
Marginal. Well, they get money. They get the investment up front for hitting, having check boxes that can be marked.
Yeah,
and it's. I don't like I said. I don't know that it's proof. There's just a lot of people saying it, so I don't know if it's true, if it isn't true. But if it is true,
the same people that are always saying it, the grift community, that's the ones always saying this stuff. Is they want to get you angry about these things.
Yeah, but
so
I'm
you
like,
keep clicking on their videos.
Is it? If you look at the companies that are investing into certain companies, there are consistent, like, the same companies investing in. Like for whatever reason, if it's legit, I don't, like I said, I'm not looking at business side of it. I don't look at this side of it, but if that was true, and people are doing it because hey, if we do this, then and we'll have more investors. Apparently, like I said,
That
I don't.
sounds sound.
The what was the game? The dude from the HBO show, the Raised by Wolves. His game. Apparently, he said again. I didn't see him say it, so this might not be. The only way he got the game made is to have investors, and the only way to get investors was to hire a consulting firm, which they hired the Sweet Baby. I don't know whether that's true or not.
So selling copies is no longer motivation from game design and what people put in their games. I think that would be way more important than filling some quota so you can get a little bit of funding for the game. Like that's not good. Well, how are you going to sell the game when you know what's going to happen? And only one group is allowed to be upset about cultural appropriation, and that's the funniest thing because nobody cared about, nobody cares about cultural appropriation for anything else. Like, why do you even care about are Japanese gamers upset? Are Japanese companies upset about this? No, I haven't really heard.
I heard they got Japanese backlash for that game.
So well, the trailer had the downvotes.
Why you folks get to be mad about these things, especially when you folks have done it a whole lot.
I know media. They always say the people who get offended aren't the people directly involved, but the trailer in the Japanese trailer did have a lot of downvotes. Whether that's American people in the West downvoting the video, I don't know. The trailer for it, but so Lenny says it's not speculation.
We can have Tom Cruise play The Last Samurai. We can have a white dude play The Last of the Mohicans, but it's weird to see your brother as a samurai. Like this,
it's not. I don't think. I think the argument is. So here's the thing. I think neither is okay, but I understand the argument of why was it okay for them to get away with it, but now all of a sudden it's a problem when you do it with another race. I get that argument.
It's woke now.
So Lenny says that it's not speculation. He says it is incentivized by hedge fund investors. That's what people are saying. So if that's let's just say let's just for the sake of argument, let's say that's true. Let's say it's like that, and it's been proven that was it Ubisoft? I can't say if it was Ubisoft. Might not have been Ubisoft. They had their I don't know if it was an email or whatever. We get them at work all the time about it's Black History Month, it's Pride Month and stuff, and inclusion and all. They put out they send out these memos. Yet we only have one minority in our working for us, but they put it out like they actually. Like they care. I mean, some people probably do, but it's just like our HR just passes it on and gave us like a 2-minute spiel of what it meant. And it's like, well, we're not practicing it. So why are we acting like we are?
Well, it's more, I think it's more of a,
so it's not about if you care or
your ass situation.
Well, that's not even fair either. It's like, well, finally recognize people outside of you. That is a good thing. Whether it's wholehearted or not. It's good to just at least say, hey, these guys did something, they did a contribution. Let's recognize it. You don't have to love it.
Well, what they do is they're like, hey,
you can stand for the flag if they don't want to. It's up to you. They don't, I don't like that.
What I was saying was like at our company,
I'm not even saying
they put it out like, hey, we care about inclusivity and diversity and all, but we don't hire anybody. They keep hiring. We have, I don't know, 34.
That's good. We'll say, hey, I'm glad you're doing this. Now go do this. That's a great, I'm with you on that. Let's have that fight. Let's say, hey, we can recognize this holiday or we can include these people. But let's not just pander. Let's also do this. But that's not the argument. Nobody's saying that. None of these guys are saying that.
No,
they don't want any of this stuff.
I'm not talking about those guys. I'm talking about.
I would even say this.
Go ahead.
I would even say this, and it's funny that this hasn't become like you said, it hasn't become relevant until now that a black man is in the Japanese world. But Nobody flinched when we got Connor in Assassin's Creed 3, and he's not fully Indian. So, and then we had
He wasn't Native
Assassin's Creed
American?
Origins, which he was mixed.
He was
He was
mixed,
white
yeah.
and Indian. And then we had Assassin's Creed
would you
Origin,
even complain about
and
that?
that took place.
Yeah, what is the complaint about that specifically?
I mean, you're not getting.
What is the complaint about any of this
You're
shit?
not getting the
Is
full.
the question.
That's what I'm. That's what I'm saying. Like, you're not getting the full. What is it? Appreciation or appropriation, because he's not full Indian. And then we had Assassin's Creed Origin, which took place in Egypt, and literally in Africa. Nobody complained about that. So why is it now
Well,
that
who was
we
the
got
man? I
something
don't know
that's
who the main character was in Oasis.
To be honest,
Nobody complained about it.
It
That's
was
why
somebody from Egypt.
there was no uproar.
It wasn't an Egyptian.
Nobody complained about it.
Because you probably won't play
Nobody
this game
complained
either,
about
but you know all about it because of the uproar. There was no.
So you weren't
uproar
playing as an
about these
Egyptian in Oasis or Odyssey? Is that what you're saying?
It was a black man and a black man, if you will, in Africa. That's the point I'm trying to make. But then you get a black man in a historically correct time for an Assassin's Creed game, and now it's a problem because he's in Japan, which is all historically correct.
It's based on history.
Like,
it's not 100% accurate, but it's based on historical things. It's not like it's not based in something.
Yeah.
Well, just getting back to what the point I was getting at with the company. We say we do all this, we care about this, but then they don't hire any. They don't hire any minorities. But we act according to, if you read all the pamphlets and stuff they put out, you think, oh, we care so much, but then they don't hire anybody. Like,
well, that's great. Complain about them not following through.
So,
but let them.
What I'm saying
do that
is,
other thing.
Was that
Go ahead.
There was one of those type documents. I can't remember if it was Ubisoft. I forget which company. One of the bigger ones, and it was basically their outline of their diversity, inclusion, equity. They're gonna have they have a, what do you call it, a person who that's their job is to basically make sure everyone's following make sure they're following these guidelines, make sure they're coaching people on, and make sure basically it's on everybody's mind. And let's just, for the sake of speculation, if you believe that to be true, and these companies are getting heavy investment by hitting the numbers or having whatever it is, whether it's quotas or this, they're following these guidelines, saying that they support this stuff, and if that is true, then for most people I've seen, that's the basis of the argument. Is like, I don't feel that Ubisoft did this from a genuine perspective. That they're doing it because it helps them.
Why is it genuine when there's a white dude in it? That's what is it genuine then?
What
and
are you
why?
talking about?
No, when they put white characters in things, nobody says it's not genuine. Only when they put a black person or a woman or a not hot chick, that's when it's not genuine.
But where did they insert a white guy in a place he didn't exist, like in recent memory? I'm just trying to think of something.
What?
What's a game of recently where they inserted a white person?
Told you, black people existed in feudal Japan. They existed. That was the story reason. They didn't just throw a black guy in there and say, "Oh, let's see what happens." Internet. There's a historical reason they put him in there.
Yeah, but I'm asking you, where did they insert a white person in a game as an example of where people didn't complain? Like, for the most part, I don't see.
He's asking.
Where's a game where they was in a place where a white person shouldn't exist and they inserted a white person? I'm not saying that Yazuka or whatever didn't exist. I'm saying, where's this? You mentioned the situation where they put a white person in a game and no one said anything. I'm trying to think of a game where they put a white person. You're like, that doesn't make sense. Why is that a white person? Why is there a white person here in this game?
What I'm asking you is why it doesn't make sense there's a black guy in there, when historically that's
I'm
happened.
not saying it doesn't, but you said that that when they do it for a white, that it doesn't matter. No one complains. I'm trying to think.
I'm just talking about media in general.
So
Avatar.
I'll at least have the conversation when it comes, because I'll answer the question.
Samurai, Last of the Mohicans. What was that?
Let me.
Damon, what's his name? Matt Damon. Remember that movie?
Well, let me.
No.
So your original question was,
It sucked. That's
But
what
let's just be real.
is
Last
it-
Samurai did get a lot of pushback when people thought that he was the last samurai. Like he was actually the last samurai. It wasn't just about the last samurai in Japan.
a lot of pushback. Yeah, it was some talk about
and the
cultural
movie didn't do
appropriation.
well. It didn't review well, and it didn't do well at the box office. And that was one of the things people were talking about. Like people who never seen the movie were like, What's this? Why is there a white guy saving Japan?" It was nothing. The movie wasn't like that at all. I mean, but
Well,
that was
I was
being
gonna-
said. I remember that being said. It wasn't. Maybe it wasn't huge. Maybe it wasn't. Social media wasn't as big back then. It wasn't like a huge outcry, but
Yeah, I acknowledge that people talked about cultural appropriation, but it's not crazy like it. It's insane the amount of backlash this stuff gets.
But like I said, people
Well,
are
certain-
because they think the company's not doing it for their because that's what they want to do. They're doing
So
it
yeah,
because they
Let
feel
me-
forced
I was going to give an
Why
explanation for
would you do that?
why it's considered not genuine. Because I know T asked why is it genuine when they put a
That's
white
my
person?
point. Like, why?
All right, but so here's the issue. Here's the issue. There are genuine people who do want to put like more POCs in media in general. I think there is a genuine interest in doing that, and some of these people are just generally great actors or artists or whatever the profession specifically is. The problem is there's also a subsection of diversity higher like quotas that they also have to meet. And the problem is that those two are getting mixed in together to where when people see a POC in a piece of media, for some people, the default reaction is, oh, is it another one of those situations instead of like, it's not that it's not genuine. Is the problem is that the association when you see a POC in any sort of media nowadays, half of people are like, is this just because there's a quota to fill, which feels disingenuous, or is it because that person generally had like the acting chops or just like they had what was needed for whatever role they're being put in? Now, I'm not saying that's intrinsically fair because it's a catch-22 situation. You won't know ever in some situations. So now everyone just has this lingering paranoia of like, well, was this just to cover a quota?
A group of people have it.
Well, no, because here's my thing. If we're trying to evolve as a society, I would rather everybody get picked for whatever positions they're put in because of the quality of their work.
That would be great if we all started.
No, of course. But the reality is that it's not the case. And I think what needs to really happen is an exception in that an acceptance that that's not going to be the case for anybody. It's just that when it comes to POC, it's a lot worse.
What's
because
POC? I'm sorry. What's POC?
Person of color.
Oh, okay.
Person of color. But for people of color, it's always going to be that game currently, at least for right now. So the reason why people are upset because it's like there's been a lot of examples of terrible media coming out because they felt like they had to fit a quota for some shit. Not even saying that was the only reason why the piece of media was bad, but it was like one of those things. It was one of those things that were like when the movies were being, what was it? I think Eternals is probably one of the better examples of that, where it's like, well, look, we got this race and this gender identity and all this other shit, and the movie still turned out to be trash. That wasn't the only reason why the movie was trash, but it was like, okay, you acted like this was gonna add something to the content.
I get it. Like a prime example was Red Tails, right? So what's his name? Lucas is running all around. This is the first black movie to do blah blah blah. The movie is utter garbage. Like if you want to make a movie about black Tuskegee Airmen, there was already a movie made, and it was great. It was called the Tuskegee Airmen. So he was pandering because he had a trash movie and he spent all this money on it, and he was trying to rile up black people. But we recognize that. We understand.
And Ubisoft isn't doing that for their credit. They aren't.
They're not doing that. Right? Right. And my problem is like people act like this is the big thing we have to work. We've pandered to white males throughout history. Look at a picture of Jesus. You think he looked like that? No, he didn't look like that. So, that's a prime example. So to act like, oh no, the big worry is pandering to Like, what are you talking about? You've been doing this the entire history of man. You've been pandering,
To be fair, though,
when it was pandering to you guys. But now the pandering is going to other people. You don't like it. I just find that suspect. That's all.
To play devil's advocate, because I'm definitely on your side. But to play devil's advocate during the Ubisoft the piece afterwards,
did they say something like that?
No. This is what made me go, They call my man's, his name is Yasuke, but they call him Yasuke.
Mm-hmm.
And hard on the U. And they even have the Japanese woman say it too. But every single Japanese person that I've heard talk about this has all said Yasuke. I'm like, boy, y'all even got her in on it. That's horrible.
So they don't even know.
I know y'all not expert.
Well, man,
they don't even pronounce it right.
Show me a Westerner who can say Japanese names right, like that.
But I will say,
this one, out of all of them, this one's easy.
Some of them can. Some people can. Right.
Yeah.
Yusuke.
We go
the same.
Yeah.
Tsushima? Is it Tsushima?
That was
like
that definitely.
I've heard 1,000
people. I will say though, and I haven't watched a ton of videos on it. I actually watch more videos of black guys commenting on this than white guys. No one's asking for the main character to be a white man. Like no one's.
They wanted to be Japanese.
They want to be a Japanese. So, and the other side of it, like I don't want to get into this either.
It hasn't happened before. Let's not pretend that hasn't happened.
The female character kind of falls into that. I can't think of the term right now. Androgynous.
She's androgynous now.
she's not. Oh, she could pass either or, from in the trailer and from a couple screenshots. It's not like, oh my god, that's
asteroid already. Just send the asteroid.
Yeah, but at the same time, you can't deny it. It's just like the Lara Croft redesign. If you just zoom in on the face and change the hair, you couldn't tell if that was a man or a woman. So it's like, it just feels like it's almost like compiling. It's like everything. It's not just this Assassin's Creed on its own. If you're in a vacuum, I don't think it would be maybe brought up. And then people would be like, hey, that is an actual historic character. And then people would debate, well, it sounds like he wasn't actually a samurai, which is fine. They can make him a samurai. I think in a vacuum, I don't think there's a whole lot of this going on, to be honest. Now, I could be wrong. There's no way to prove it. But like Terrell said, there has been a string of race swapping in movies and stuff. And it's like, I think it's just a buildup of everything. I don't think it's just this on its own. People joke about redheads are being replaced in a lot, whether, I can't think of all of them now. I know obviously The Little Mermaid was one, but there's other examples of characters getting race swap when it was a redhead for whatever reason. There was like three or something. I think everything together has gotten to this point, and it's almost like it's hard to know. It's hard in my opinion, I feel it's hard to trust especially like Disney. Anything they come out with, I'm just like, I can't trust.
I don't trust this energy. I don't trust this energy.
I can't trust their motives. I can't trust their motives.
I grew up watching movies where there were people playing characters that had no business playing, and then hardly anybody said anything about it. One of my favorite movies of all time, The 10 Commandments. Ain't nobody culturally correct in that movie. No one.
Yeah, but like you said, we've come a long way on that stuff, obviously. But
have we?
Is it like,
it's like we're going in the other direction?
Do we feel like the basis a lot of people say, and I watched Little Mermaid and I actually liked the movie. It didn't like stop me from liking the movie. But it almost feels like an overcorrection at times. It's like, yeah, we know we did some wrong. Now it's just like, it's almost like the trend to do. There's not a ton of examples, but like I said, I don't think it's just Assassin's Creed on its own, to be honest. I don't think this would have sparked anything.
No, I think it was just that it was the latest thing to talk about, so it kind of.
I don't even think it was that. I agree. Here's the issue, because Steve's right that this has been a problem for decades, probably borderlining centuries.
Nobody cared what was on the other side. Now,
Huh?
now you get nobody cared when it was on the other side, but now you get.
Well, no, all right. So here's the thing.
It
I
drives me
agree.
insane, bro.
That's always been an issue. I think the problem is I don't think it was public knowledge. And I think that it's become more public knowledge in the last couple of decades than it used to be. And so now people have this inherent like distrust, especially when there are like consistent examples of it happening. Now, I'm not necessarily, and once again, I'm not saying it's right by any means because there are genuine quality stories and content that have come out, including more people of color. But the problem is that the default reaction is skepticism and distrust. When, as T said it before, we had media hundreds, decades, or a century ago that did the exact same thing. But because it's modern content and because it's in your mind that they're trying to fill quotas and shit, now all of a sudden it's a problem. The reality is it's not really a problem as much as it's more open distrust of corporate media.
I will give you an example of that where the Avatar live action, which I didn't really love by the end, people they thought Sokka was just a white guy, but he actually has his heritage. Now he's not 100% Inuit or what, I'm not sure what exactly.
You're going to give me an example, but it's not going to be on the level of this. You're not going to see YouTube channels thrive because of this vitriol, this talk all the time. You're not going to show me the equivalent of that. So yeah, I can show you examples.
Prince of Persia came out.
Ways.
People like that movie flopped. I don't know if it flopped because
of
it. But they're like,
it was terrible.
What the hell? I can't even think.
I didn't even care that Jake Gyllenhaal. I was
Jake
Gyllenhaal.
People called it out. I wasn't like, yeah, you're right. That came out at an era where there wasn't Twitter constantly. You got to also consider we have instant access to everything now, and people can give their opinions. So that's a factor for sure, and why things are seem way.
People make a living off of this. It's just a fact. People make a living. This is a guy still out there complaining about Brie Larson's comments from 2015, and he gets tons of views. Off of that.
That's
you
true.
You don't see the equivalent on the other side of that. That happens. I can show you a bunch of channels that are like that.
I will say
these channels propagate this stuff.
The Disney hate channels.
This is the worst thing ever.
The Disney hate channels would probably call out Prince of Persia today for that exact thing. I don't know that it'd get as many views, but they'd call out because they hate Disney.
It won't be the same.
They hate Disney,
you.
But I don't know that the views would have been there. I don't know that it would have been.
Why wouldn't the views been there?
I'm just saying I don't know if they would. I'm saying they wouldn't.
I'm saying, why do you think the views wouldn't have been there? I agree, because they don't care as much. You can't get behind that. You can't get, they're trying to do this to you. It's a conspiracy against us. It's a conspiracy against us. Historically. Oh man, I don't know. I can't deal.
Well, I can kind of see. I agree with, like, I'm not in disagreement with you, but also there have been a growing number of gender and race swaps in movies, shows, and stuff.
They try to put more energy into something that's old. I think they're just trying to get. It's not always a conspiracy against your culture, your race. When they do that, they're just not good writers. So they try to find another way to make this thing that should just be dead and be done with. Don't use it anymore. They try to find a way to make it new again. That's all they're doing. Mm-hmm. It's no conspiracy against you. It's just bad writing. It's that simple. It really is. Most of the time, it is that simple. They can't come up with better stories. So let's take this old thing. How do we make it hip? Oh, they tried to do that shit with Honeymooners. I love Honeymooners. They did that shit in 2003 with fucking Cedric the Entertainer. It was utter garbage. But they didn't know what to do. They had a property. They had this IP that they could use. Well, how can we make this modern? Oh, nobody's gonna believe poor ass white people in a bus driver. We got to make them black, and that's what they did, and it didn't work because pandering doesn't always work. It works sometimes, but most of the time, I would say it does not work. because if the product itself is not good, you got to have a good product.
Yeah,
and the problem is these things come out and they don't give them a chance. Well, let's see if it's good, guys. If it's good, if it's not good, let's have that fight.
Assassin's Creed, that might be the best. That might be the best Assassin's Creed they made. You know,
or it might be the worst. I don't know.
It might be trash. I don't know. I don't mind the because they came out as our first historically accurate character, and then people are like, well, the history doesn't really back that up, that he was a samurai, whatever. That kind of discourse, that's one thing, argue about history. And you're right though, it is, we're gonna remake this. We gotta do something to try to liven it up. And unfortunately, the side effect of that is people are like, well, I mean, I was surprised honestly a couple years ago when Terrell was like, yeah, I'm sick of these race swaps. Like, I was surprised honestly that Terrell said that. I didn't expect you to. And I was for them 100%, and then I heard your perspective and was like, oh, I never thought about that. Like, yeah,
I'm not for or against them. I don't. If it's a movie's good, I'm fine with it. I don't give a shit. Like, if I don't care. Like,
no.
If it's not, if the person's color or is not, or their what is it? Their creed or whatever. If it's not integral to their character, I don't care. And like, you can't race swap Blade, because you know that's different, right? You can't race swap Blade, but technically, you could race swap. I don't know who. You can race. What's his name? The Lightning Kid.
What, Static?
Static. You can race swap Static. You can race swap. People probably like him more now that Sam Jackson played him. Nick Fury.
Nick Fury.
Right? I don't remember there being a big uproar because everybody loves Sam Jackson. That's why he got a chance.
I remember the Battlestar Galactica reboot. I remember it's 2004. The internet was a lot less filled with opinions. But I remember when they cast Starbuck as a female, I remember hearing about that. And I just watched a video on like 20 years later about that series, and I'm rewatching the show. I don't really like her character that much. I didn't watch the original, but apparently it was a big deal back then because not only did they change from a guy to a girl, but they made her kind of an unlikable character, especially in the first like half of this first season. She's just not a very likable character. And I do remember hearing about that. But I would say I would have thought, when you said you can't get away, I would have thought Ariel was a character that they wouldn't have tried to like do a race, a character that ingrained in Disney history, or Snow White. Like, they keep trying it, whatever the reason is, whatever they're thinking, it's obviously not going over well, and they just need to stop. Just, I think Terrell, one of your biggest points back then was like, give me a new character. Like, why just race swap and say, here you go? Why not write a new Disney princess, or come out with a new movie like a Moana, or somebody, a person of color, for a new character? You know what I mean? Like, that was your main argument that I never thought about, honestly. I was like, oh, that's actually,
well, they here's the thing, they do that every once in a while, but you know what, they don't make $1 billion. The IP, the one that people know is the one, that's the thing. Yeah, it's make new characters. I love The Princess and the Frog, but it didn't do great. It's one of the best Disney princesses out there, but the movie didn't do that great. So
that was like the last hand-drawn one too.
Yeah, that was one of the last hand-drawn ones.
It was.
It's fine to say that, sure. Hey, black guys, you don't need to go make your own Superman, even though Superman's been around fucking 800 years. Go make one just as popular as him. You can do it. Like, that's just that most of the time that's not a thing.
Like a Miles Morales situation or an alternate universe type of thing, but at the same time, it's like there's certain, like you said, Blade. There would be I don't know what white people would say. Like, I would be mad if they took Blade. Right. Let's say they took Blade and they made him Hispanic or they made him a white guy. Yeah, there'd be a lot of uproar. And I don't know how much from the white side, but I'm sure the black community would be pretty upset. I'm sure diehard comic book fans would be upset. Because
Wesley Snipes was so good as Blade.
I'm not before. No one would have knew before, but like, I didn't know Blade. I didn't know I think I saw him in the Spider-Man
He's a
cartoon.
blaxploitation superhero.
But
from
now
the
that
70s.
Blade is who he is, I'm saying now if they did it, like,
well, the thing about Blade, that's what I was saying. Blade is specifically about who he is. It's about his color. Like the character is about that. That's
I wouldn't say maybe in the comic
part
books,
of his identity.
I didn't really think in the movies that didn't really show.
On the comics, again, the comic started as a blaxploitation character, a blaxploitation superhero character.
But I do believe that
he looked like a pimp from the '70s when he first came out. A pimp from the '70s with stakes on his chest. That's what that's what he used to look like, Blade. So
I do believe though, if they did that for a new Blade, it would. If they made him not a black guy, I think that would there'd be a huge outcry.
Here's the thing. There would be outcry because it's like, well, we don't even have that many superheroes to begin with, and you're going to take Blade? Yeah, that would be different. But when there's 800 superheroes
yeah,
that are not like us, then, not like us.
Relax. Hey, we get in that.
That's been in my head for like 2 weeks.
Because everyone keeps fucking playing the track.
And that's what I don't like is when they try to, it's go strive. And well, for 100 years, we weren't allowed to even have studios to draw in. We had none of those abilities. We had none of those. So now you want us to start from square one right now and go out there. No, it doesn't really work that way.
Spawn, I'm trying to think.
Side note, you remember when Blade was white? Did any of y'all remember when Blade was white?
He was something, wasn't he? In a Kurt.
I forget.
Yeah, and Spider-Man and the 90s Spider-Man.
Was Spawn was the comics for Spawn? Was Spawn? I don't remember Spawn's race in the comics. I know in the movies.
He's always been black.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
that's a movie.
That might have been honestly. That might have been because knowing Todd McFarlane, he might have just did that. Because hey, there aren't any black guys around. My character's going to be black. I remember him actually saying that. He wanted make a popular black superhero. That's why he did it.
What's this? I'm trying to think the Stan Lee where everyone's like, oh, the X-Men. Oh, X-Men are such a representation of. It got turned into like almost like in the movies, especially the first movie, second movies. It was more of a. It felt more like a what's the term? It's speaking on behalf of something in the real
social issues. Yeah,
social issues.
X-Men has always
but
been.
Then you asked Stan Lee, and he's like, "We weren't thinking of that. We just we have mutants. They can be anything. Let's come up with these crazy."
Really? Because I've seen interviews with him saying, "Well, we couldn't say certain things because of the whatever the."
Yeah, I've seen that one.
I heard the interview. He's like, he wasn't. He's like, I wasn't thinking of that connection. I wasn't thinking of the connection of like minorities.
A censorship thing.
He was like, I wasn't making X-Men thinking about this minorities are going to relate to this or people who struggled because
there's two Stan Lees out there then.
Literally, I heard
specifically minorities. He was talking about obviously you got Eric Lyncher and
well maybe one came after the other and he realized somebody told him he needed to say that's what his motivation. But I heard him literally say that he wasn't even thinking about it. He just like, hey, these mutants can be anything they want. Let's just come up with some crazy things that mutants can do. And
well, it's like when people say, "Oh man, Star Trek is so woke." Well, you know nothing about Star Trek. Star Trek always was woke. That was the point of it. Gene Roddenberry was one of the earliest woke dudes in Hollywood. So. When you say stuff like that,
now that I've seen the old Star Trek, I mean, they had Uhura. I don't know. I'm gonna guess she probably was paid the least, just based on back then. I don't know,
probably.
But she's not like a main character. She's in the first season anyway. There's 30 freaking episodes. I haven't got through the first season yet. Watching Discovery though, I usually don't like this. I watched Discovery a couple years ago. I started watching it. Haven't finished it. I wasn't. You might not believe it. I wasn't watching stuff looking for that kind of stuff back then, and I even I'm like, man, this storyline. What are they doing with this? Like, where are they going with this? In Discovery, like I stopped watching the show because it was just like it was too much.
I don't want to watch Discovery because I think it's not good. It has nothing to do with who's in it. Who's running the ship.
They went a little too hard with a couple storylines, and I'm just like, yeah, I can't relate to this. I'm sure for other people, they're probably, oh, this is the best part of the show. Which is you'd hope why they would do it to try to.
I'm not naive. I know it happens. I was watching Supergirl and I stopped watching it because of one episode.
Yeah,
I was like, come on.
that was like in your face. Like they weren't even trying to.
That was just like punch you in the face. There's no denying that. I was like, come on.
So there's definitely good ways to do it, bad ways to do it. There's like The Expanse. I always talk about. I've listened to hundreds of hours of the creator in podcasts, and the guy who played Amos talk. I've listened to, well, not just him, but just them talking about the show behind the scenes. Never once did they like, oh yeah, we really wanted to have this diverse cast and make sure, we covered this group and this. No, they just made a show. They set it in the future where they assumed the world's problems were no longer races and Earth. You have people living on Mars. You have people living in the belt.
Wouldn't that be nice?
The color of their skin is not a factor anymore, So they just, like, one of the smartest character in the show is a black woman, and some people find her slightly annoying, I guess. I mean, she's not my favorite character, but she's a good character. She's got flaws, and she's super smart, but she's flawed. She's got a past. She's not just like what they say, a Mary Sue and stuff. She's a legit good character, and
it's called good writing.
And they have a diverse. I watched that show, didn't even think about it.
With that premise. Are there movies that have all white characters in them that are not good movies?
Yeah.
So why aren't we allowed to have bad movies? Huh? Why is it bullshit? Oh man, the movie isn't good. It's probably because of that dude. No, you got bad movies. We can all have bad movies. That's true equality. We all have bad movies and video games, and nobody cares.
And there's movies that it's just like, wow, there's really only white people in this movie. Like where it's not like a historical set in Germany type movie. Like it's just like. Yeah, really. I become more aware of that stuff. I'm like, yeah, look back at watching.
Here's the
movie.
thing,
Like, there's literally only white people in this movie.
As a black kid who grew up in the hood, I watched those movies and I didn't complain. I didn't cry about, oh man, they're forcing all these white people on me. It never happened. But it bothers me when it does happen the other way around.
I will tell you, as a family of less open-minded parents. We watched Fresh Prince of Bel-Air together. We watched The Jeffersons. We watched Sanford and Sons.
Don't tell me that stuff.
Yeah, they're probably made by white people, but still, we weren't like, oh, we're not gonna watch The Cosby Show. Was literally The Cosby Show was our the show outside of maybe Seinfeld that we watched, like early Seinfeld. We watched The Cosby Show religiously together as a family, like. No one was like, oh, why are we watching the show with these black people? No one ever said that. Wasn't even thought of. Now, maybe it's not a show about...
What other show with a bunch of black people in it y'all watched back then? At that time?
We used to watch Sanford and Son. I don't know if that's at the same time.
That's older.
Jeffersons. That's probably.
Gonna say Family Matters, Living Single.
I watch, Family Matters. Is that?
He ain't watch no Living Single. Come on now.
Hey, bro. Hey. Listen.
He watched Friends.
Watching Living Color. Which was, wasn't just.
I was gonna say Living Color.
Like I never once was like.
What about Different World?
Document at all. That's.
I never once was like, I'm not gonna watch this. There's no white people in this show. Like I never thought of that. Like. Just never was a thing for me, Just if I liked it, I liked it. If I didn't, I didn't.
You know why? Because you're from the
good
side of
Michigan.
You're from the good side of Michigan.
I don't want to do that.
But then I do realize, like, there's a lot of shows that, but even like MASH had, I want to say MASH had mixed, but it's probably the lead characters were probably all white. I'm thinking. I never watched it.
I hear you with the forced diversity. What is unforced diversity?
I think it's forced when they're like in the press. They're like, oh, we have this, and this. Like the red carpet for the internals.
They can't just celebrate the fact that they have.
It feels. I wouldn't say it's forced versus. It's like
that's your feelings. I can't help your feelings.
We want to make sure that we get patted on the back because we did this thing. Like that's when people. I feel that's when it gets to me where I'm like, I couldn't even watch the red carpet interviews for that.
You can see from where you are what the motivations of these producers are, and I just know they're just trying to. I don't have that ability.
It's not like
I just take
it's them. It feels like them
are.
trying to be like, I'm such a good person. We cast all these minorities in these major roles, and we just want you to know, like, just do it. Put out your movie. Anytime anybody like asks or seems to be asking for,
just do it and don't be quiet about it. That's the difference. That's when
to me that's where it starts to put up red flags, when the creators are like, that's all they're talking about. They're not talking about their movie or their show. They're talking about, oh, we have such a diverse cast. We have a strong woman character in this. In here we have, minority here. It's like, why are you bringing it up? Just make your movie, cast the people you want to cast, make your movie. Why do you have to talk? Like, if we stop talking about it, maybe it would be less of an issue.
Think it'll go away?
I kind of agree with Morgan Freeman.
I think the argument is that it would be normalized if you didn't make a big deal out of it.
Yeah, why? I mean, at this point, you shouldn't have to.
The goal is for it to not to be a big deal.
Talking about racism will just dissolve. It'll just go away.
But that's the whole point. They don't want it to go away.
Well, there are people on both sides, I feel, that don't want it to go away.
Yeah, because there's money in it.
Yeah.
There's more money on one side. There's a false equivalency going on here that I just can't stand for. There's more money on this on one side of the aisle. It's just how it is. Yeah. It's just a fact. You look at the channels, you see who's making
and
getting
YouTube,
the
for
views
sure.
and the numbers.
I'm not talking about YouTube anymore.
I'm just saying in general.
I mean, if you're talking about not forced, Civil War, that whole Marvel piece, that's definitely not forced. You got Falcon, Black Panther, and Girl Piccolo. You know what I'm saying? So there's 3 right there that we ain't really got. Gamora Chanel, I know you was like, who?
When you said it, I was like, hold up.
Wait, what?
I was like, who the fuck is? I was like, I thought you were talking about She-Hulk for a minute. I was like, wait a minute, wait. I'm thinking of a green woman. I'm like, oh, Gamora would be the only other one I could think of.
Yeah, Girl Piccolo.
Gamora's a POC now.
I don't like the girl.
I mean, Piccolo.
I don't like the girl.
PLC,
well, that's because we going. Listen, I'm not gonna get into that because that's the whole anime.
Her character design is clearly European, so she's just green. She clearly has European features. She's just green.
Well, I'm not going.
We're not gonna pretend that she's a person of color now because she's green.
Well, if you want to take it literal,
I mean, that's what I was trying to say.
We'll move on. The fact that he said Piccolo specifically also leaned into like the whole black claiming anime characters thing, but I won't do all that. Man,
I would say let's.
Anybody complain about Afro Samurai? I thought that was a good.
No, Afro Samurai was great, but that's also. Listen, that's also Sam Jackson though. That's also Sam Jackson.
You can only do that stuff when you Sam Jackson.
I will say I do disagree.
One of the good ones.
I do disagree with.
What do you mean, T?
I think we talked about this before, but I know what you mean, the voice actors having to be the race or the sexual orientation of their character. I think that's where some of it gets a little too.
I don't think anyone's.
I'm never one-sided about anything. That is nonsense. Or when people
that's
get
just
mad,
dumb because that's not true.
Retroactively mad. I think some people were mad about it at the time. When people got mad when what's his name? Jared Leto played a transgender character in that movie, Dallas Buyers Club. I'm like, come on. Like, really? We're doing that? Like, you can't be an actor now? Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
Yeah,
like that's insane.
Problem with old girl playing Bart Simpson for the last.
Most people probably didn't even know. I forgot. To be honest. Yeah, it's just that's where I think people go too far.
I'm 100% with you. That's when it gets way off the handle. I can't ride with y'all on that. That's nonsense. I can't.
Unless your character is gonna be like, all right, we want this person to like today.
Only gay people can play gay people. Only like
if somebody's gonna.
One of the best misogynist dudes ever was played by Neil Patrick Harris. Mm-hmm. He was fantastic in How I Met Your Mother as a womanizing misogynist dude. He was fantastic. Are you saying that he wasn't a character because he's gay? Like, you're opening up a can of worms here, is what I'm saying. That's nonsense.
And especially, like, I would have a problem with it. I don't know. I don't watch anime, and like, are there characters that would be
all the time?
Your
I already know what you're
stereotypical
supposed-
black character, like you maybe with
That's-
the slang and
well-
all that. I wouldn't want that. I would think it'd be weird to cast a white person
So to
to
be
do like
fair,
a black slang.
Are we talking?
character,
Are you talking about like the dub? Or are you talking about the original when
The
it came
dub.
out?
not the Japanese version?
Oh yeah, the dub.
Japanese.
The dub. Does, I mean, the voice
No, let's
acting
just say
is
there's
all-
a character, and they want him to be like, I don't know, like a streetwise, like typical or stereotype black character with slang and all that. That would be weird if they cast a white guy to try to do.
They
that.
have had white. They've had white guys do that. They've had white
Unless he
guys
could
do
pull
that.
it off. Honestly,
I know.
No, here's my problem.
Super comfortable.
Listen. Here's my problem.
Like that.
All right, so here's the issue. He's right. We've been had white dudes do that in anime, like a lot. My problem is modern anime dubbing has a whole other issue, which is the fucking translation fuckering that's been going on. That's been the big issue. One of my favorite examples is and it's funny because there were some realizations when you get older, when you finally start seeing these voice actors for certain characters. People forget that like some of the modern voices for some famous characters are completely different now. One of my favorite one is Bugs Bunny's voice, because for the longest time obviously it was Mel Blanc up until a certain point, and then I was like, who voices him now? And I looked it up, and it's like this Canadian dude, fucking Eric, who I believe is also Asian, and I'm just kind of like, see, we gotta stop playing these fucking games. Like, voice acting doesn't really get that same kind of negativity. I mean, for God's sakes, one of people's favorite characters is Samurai Jack, and that's Phil Lamar. Motherfucking Phil Lamar. Like, I don't think voice acting doesn't really come under that scrutiny. I don't really hear much of people being like,
there's a little bit. There's a little bit of it.
I don't think it's nowhere. I don't think it's a lot.
Nowhere near. No.
Because motherfuckers are just like, man, you sound great. Oh shit! Like, and then we got a bunch of up and coming voice actors and actresses of different races, and we're just like, fuck it. As long as you sound good at this point.
Yeah,
there are some people.
I would say
who
don't
play it up
cast a woman to do a British accent when she didn't have a British accent at the time. And
no, they're gonna keep doing that. They're gonna keep doing that.
But there's a lot of British actors that have to do an American accent because, or Australian.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
We are at their accent. Why is that? Why are British people way better at making an American accent than we are doing British?
Why do they force Australian actors to do American accent in movies where it would make total sense for them to be Australian? Like,
I think financially, it's just smarter because
I mean, I don't know a single person who's like, I hate the Australian accent on I hate hearing it. Like I mean, I don't have that big a sample size, but I know a lot of people that hear an Australian woman talk and they're like, damn, that's sexy. But yet they make Margot Robbie and other in movies where it makes no sense to force them into an American accent.
Fair, for a while people didn't even realize half these actors weren't American.
Yeah,
that's
like Russell Crowe. Who would have thought?
Well, Russell Crowe, that one's a little bit different. I think Hugh Jackman was the first time I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, Hugh Jackman messed me up.
Because Hugh Jackman
he was Wolverine
at all. He's a
but you know what? In that same sentiment, Idris Elba was the same way. I was like, wow, you were.
Because he was in The Wire. It was like
I didn't think his
where does the accent come from, bro?
Pacific Rim. I didn't think his American accent was very good, but I didn't watch The Wire, so I can't.
Yeah, because he was trying to do like a Southern American. I'm like, all right.
He did that in freaking Prometheus too. Just let the dude. I'm not gonna say it. Dude has a sexy voice for a man. Let him talk the way he talks. You know, like why? Why for Prometheus does he have to have an American accent? Like why?
Well, even a newer show, like Snowfall, the main dude in Snowfall, the dude who plays Franklin. I was like, oh, you're British, and apparently the other actors didn't know he was British until like they finished doing season 1, and it was like
the new James Bond. He was in Godzilla.
What's his name? Daniel Craig did an amazing Southern accent in
Tomb Raider.
No, the Ron Johnson movie. That's hilarious. Ron Johnson movie.
Yeah. Yep.
What's it called?
Glass Onions,
the second one.
No,
it's the first one.
Yeah,
something Glass or
Knives Out.
Knives Out.
Knives Out. Yeah, he was fantastic in that with a Southern accent. So we just not good at doing their accents for sure.
No, I suck at a British accent.
Yeah.
But and then Retro Death hates a game where characters have different European accents that are speaking English.
Said no Diddy.
I don't know why Retro's here. I don't know why it bothers him to have like a Scottish, a London accent, and all these different characters that are from all different places in Xenoblade. But for some reason, he absolutely hates that.
It's diversity.
Like Nia, how dare Nia have a Scottish accent? Which is it Scottish? I think it's Scottish.
It's Scottish.
Scottish or Irish is another one that
it's Scottish.
That works
Scottish.
for me really good.
I like. Yeah,
when I hear a woman with an Irish or Scottish, I'm like, damn. Even if she's not like just the voice.
Mercy. You could just be a regular looking chick.
Yeah, exactly. I was just gonna say that. I heard
you're a little bit hotter with that exit.
But anyway, we covered a lot of stuff. Good talk.
Especially diversity. Look at how diverse we are.
Exactly. I never even think about it, to be honest. I'm the only white guy here. I didn't even think about it until just now. I've been in a group.
Just a couple of nerds.
And it's not forced.
I've been in a group where I was one of like one male and around 10 women, and I felt a little out of place a couple times.
Are they popping balloons? Oh no, I'm bad.
But I was like, yeah, whatever. It was.
Why would you feel uncomfortable around a bunch of women?
It was the only time I've been in a situation like that where I was the one guy.
I'm more comfortable around a bunch of women than I am around a bunch of dudes.
I was a pretty big hit. This was years ago. We went to
back when
it was a Christian music festival, which I normally wouldn't have gone to. But I went with this girl.
Just throwing that out
there. And because I'm sorry,
you can leave some details out.
The music, I'm sorry, the music wasn't very good. 15 years, at least I think it was 15 years ago. The music wasn't very good. It was a lot of like what I would call like garage bands, but there wasn't a big scene. Now there's a way bigger scene. There's a lot
Christian
more.
hip hop is the best.
But yeah, and I was just like, it was the first time where I was the only dude.
Hip hop is terrible. Now?
I said Christian hip hop. Christian.
Like now?
You got some stuff? You gonna send me some stuff?
I mean, yeah, I got
send me some stuff. Then.
I'm gonna make a boomer statement right now.
I've been listening to it in about 6 or 7 years, bro. I haven't listened in about 6 or 7 years. But you got some stuff from me. I listen.
Okay.
I'm gonna make a boomer statement as we get out of here. I cannot stand. I don't care what genre it is. When somebody like our UPS driver, he listens to this like current pop music or current music, and every motherfucking song, I hear the same voice box, auto tune, whatever it's called, on every whether it's sounds like a hip hop artist, whether it's a dance song, whether it's just like, can we stop using this? Everybody just stop using this. I mean, at some point, like do something different. Like, God. And this guy, like,
I hope that Jay-Z had killed it with his Death of Autotune song, but it came back. It came roaring back.
There's a guy in talk about privilege. This dude had Detroit Lions season tickets his whole life. He's 23 years old. He goes to every Detroit Lions game with him and his girlfriend, and he doesn't work, so I'm guessing he inherited a shit ton of money, or his parents or dad or somebody, family business, something Anyway, he edits these videos and they're funny, and he seems like a really fun, cool guy to hang out with. And they go to like before the games, they're doing the tailgating, and he edits these videos. But every time he uses a song with a slow beat with an auto tune, I don't know what it's called officially. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm out of this new music scene. So I hated when people said it about music I liked back in the day. Every song sounds the same, but goddamn. Every song sounds like I couldn't tell you if it's a different person. It sounds like the same person every time, because their voice is being altered. It's almost like disguising their actual voice. So, and I'm just like, dude, I can't stand watching these. I like the videos, but I can't stand his edits when he always inserts these songs. To me, it could be the same song every time. But again, people used to say that about my hard rock music back in the early 2000s, and I would agree. Like Godsmack.
Okay, I was gonna say
AC/DC.
I felt the same way. And I said to myself even when I was younger, I never wanted to be that guy. I don't want to be the old guy, talking about the get off my lawn. Your music sucks.
Mm-hmm.
But I never wanted to do that. So I go to kids today and I ask them, and they say their music sucks. So,
okay.
And I a big sample size, not the biggest sample size, but they all say, my son says it. I don't indoctrinate him. I let him do his own thing, whatever he want to listen to. He says, yeah, our music sucks. Everybody, there's good guys out there, but, not as many as it was in your day, Dad. Especially like the 90s and stuff, where it was just like, man, the 90s was stupid with talent and just bands and everything. Every genre was amazing. And there was just so many different styles and sounds and he says it's not like that now. A lot of dudes sound the same. They all have stupid names.
They're all just like mimicking each other. Not mimicking, but they're all just like, hey, that's a good sound. I want that sound. I want that sound. That happened though. There was bands that copied it, Nirvana. You're like, oh, that's another Nirvana.
Not like the SoundCloud era, guys. The SoundCloud era.
I don't think I've ever mentioned this. Since probably from like 1992, probably the first time I heard Pearl Jam. Music was my number one passion.
2000s.
From 92 to about 2010, I would have put music as my number one passion in life. Now it's like third. So, and I have an ear for, I can hear like, a guy at work is how I realize that I have a good ear is he can't tell the difference between, like, if the song he's never heard, he couldn't tell you, oh, that's, that must be a new Taylor Swift song, just as first thing that popped in my head. That's not an actual example, but, he's like, I can't tell, you can't tell who that is? I'd be like, you can't tell who that is? Well, I've never heard this song. Well, how can't you recognize their voice? So we listen to
Billie Eilish,
Pandora, and put on, like, current, whatever it's called, top hits, today's hits or whatever. And I shit you not, I know she's not as popular anymore. I swear every other song, I'm like, is this Katy Perry? Is this Everybody sounds like Katy Perry. I'm like, oh, that's Dua Lipa? She sounds like Katy Perry. This sounds like Katy. Who's this? Not Katy Perry. Oh, this sounds like Adele. Oh, that's not Adele. Yeah. This sounds exactly like Adele. No, that's not Adele either. I'm like, what? They all sound like two or three. Billie Eilish sounds like
Billie Eilish, Olivia Rodrigo, I think her name is. I'm like, they sound like
exactly the same.
Lorde to me. Lorde. They sound the same, and they're both copying Lorde. So
it's just crazy to me. I like I said, if I listened to it all the time, I'd probably be able to distinguish better. But just listen to it casually at work, I'm like, I'm bringing my phone. I gotta see who this is. I'm like, no, never heard of that person, and it's just crazy. But yeah, 10 is probably one of my top 10 albums of all time. I don't think they did much after that, to be honest. Pearl Jam. But anyway, let's get out of here. My cats are dying. They're hungry. Just crying.
It's time. It's past time. Well, we came on late, but.
And I also want to say Van Helsing's a good movie. Just want to say that.
Stop it.
18 years later, 20 years later, I can appreciate it. So
I'm glad you can. I'm happy for you. I'm glad you.
Thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. I almost left Discord instead of closing the.